give yourself, I guess, a short introduction to those of you in chat who've been living under a rock and don't know who you are. Just kind of quick fill in.
Okay. So I've been playing coaching Overwatch for a couple of years now, and my team's on a bit of a break at the moment. Before we're chilling in like the tier 3 like EU scene. But because my team's on a bit of a break, I started making some videos on YouTube. Some people like them. I guess my main shtick overall is really trying to push like healthy practices for players, right? Because I've spent a lot of time doing like brief stints with other teams.
Yep.
Like only being with them for, a few days, a week, only specking like a couple of scrims.
Yep.
And really just trying to put them on the right track. Like that's where a lot of my coaching experience comes from. Just spending short amounts of time with teams and finding the unhealthy like tendencies they've got and trying to correct those.
Okay, so this is Ana. I guess when you are coaching an Ana player, is there anything in particular that you look for? Is it just kind of just see what comes to you?
Probably the biggest thing is for flex support especially, you have to really predict how a fight's going to go down, like before it happens, right? You have to think about how a fight's going to go down, and set up accordingly. Like by far the biggest mistake that like all flex supports make is like spacing wise, right? They're always standing like way too close to their team, and it's like that's sort of like a free space, on the bingo card. Like whenever you're looking at flex supports. The other thing as well, especially in current meta, is relieving pressure, right? So like Ana's not that great at the moment, but there are a few things she can do really well. She has like really good recovery time in terms of like healing people across the map and stuff. But she can also relieve pressure really well. So like if there's someone who's really high threat to her team, she can shut them down. If there's someone on her team who's taking a lot of pressure, she can like use her kit to relieve that, and that's her only real use at the moment.
Okay.
So it's mostly looking at how good players are at doing those things.
Now, can you give me basically what you just stated? Can you give me a real life example of doing something like that?
So like so like May and Reaper are quite popular at the moment. So it's like they put a lot of pressure on the team, right? But like Ana can, because she has long range with poke, she also has like sleeps and nades. She can focus them from range before the fight like really breaks down and force out those defensive options, right? She can force out Wraithform, she can force out Ice Block. She can take a lot of pressure off of her team by putting out damage herself.
Okay.
But she can also take a lot of pressure off of her team by pocketing the right person at the right time, right? So like, again, with that May Reaper, if you're playing an Orisa, there's gonna come a point where the May Reaper are gonna break through the shield, like run through the shield and start focusing the Orisa. With like really good nade timings, really good nano timings, you can relieve all of that pressure off of the Orisa. And you can do it in other ways as well, right? So like maybe you have another hero that's outside the Orisa when she's getting pushed. And nano onto that hero is gonna draw a lot of heat, right? So like Ana can do a lot of like cool little things to like balance the aggro that her team's taking. And just sort of like, I don't know, just sort of make it easier for her team.
So kind of like scope of impact, no pun intended, is a lot wider than like a Moira. She can impact the fight from in a lot of different ways, from a lot of different angles, on a lot of different targets. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so I guess we can go and get started. Try pressing that play button and let me know if that works for you on the queue. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have freedom for that. I'll set my volume and then we're all set.
All right.
Hey, Dragonfly.
Let's have a look. Yeah, so Ana on this first point defense. Oof. Okay. Probably the biggest thing is like for positioning as Ana on this first point, especially. I always like being on the opposite side of my team, right?
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting to see.
Now, why is that?
How they play. Mostly because like the way that LOS works on this first point, because you have the high ground going around the whole way. It's nice to be able to see sort of underneath your team as well as over them. Okay. And you can use these. Is it drawing work? Yeah, cool. So like you have this big choke here, and if you're playing like in this position, you can block like sniper LOS like to this area over here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And like and you can do the same on the other side too. So it's like, so you can have like full. So if you're standing over here, you can have full LOS like on this area without ever having to peek these snipers. Right?
Now, what if your team is deciding to hold here? Do you think going to the opposite side would be appropriate, or do you think that's too much of a sacrifice?
I mean, personally, I'm quite a. I lean very heavily on the flanks when I play Ana, so maybe like I might, but for this player, probably you want to. maybe it's safer to see what the enemy are playing first, right?
Yeah, I think that's good. Okay.
So like, to see what they're playing though, you'd probably want to see where the diva is just behind this player. Like about here is good. So like, at least you have options, right? If you want to cross afterwards, you can. If you want to back down the stairs, you can. But I'm a little bit worried now because they're so grouped up with their team. And actually, let's talk about comps. Oh, cool. Okay, it's actually on the screen.
Perfect.
So like, first point defense. Again, going back to this idea of Anna's got to predict how the fight's going to go down, right? Like, looking at these heroes, we have these 2 dive tanks, we have the Doomfist. Immediately, like, the Sound player should know, like, how's this fight going to go down, right? So, like, the enemy team, they're going to... Let's just draw the choke here. They're going to force through the choke. And then the monkey's going to be hiding, like, somewhere, and he's going to drop down. Like, just drop down the team, try and trade backlines, and then probably jump back up, right? Like, that's sort of... That's the way Monkey plays on these 2 CP maps. Probably the best use that you're going to get out of Monkey at the moment. Just sort of playing in this very sort of defensive style where he like drops in. So you have to set up for that. And right now, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't really say this player's set up for that. Let's see though, because Monkey drops in really early. Okay.
So like, that was what you were talking about right there. Like, Moira can't do that.
Like, Moira... Oh, what, killing the Ana? Killing the Symmetra? Yeah, Moira can't do that. And like, the kill's good, but I'm a lot more worried about the monkey in frontline, right? Because sorry, I keep skipping. No, but you see when the monkey drops, he drops quite early. But because this player's so far up here, they have absolutely no LOS on the enemy team, right? Like, they have LOS on the monkey and they can sort of pocket him from here, but they don't have any LOS on the enemy team, so like, they can't put out damage, they don't really have any nade angle. Yeah, so like, because the player's so far up, it's difficult to follow up on this monkey when he drops in, and like, this is sort of where you're going to win the fight, right? Like, when monkey drops in and he tries to get value, it's going to be difficult for your team to do a whole lot else, so I want to keep watching that and see what actually happens, because you'd think, like, playing so far up, if you're going to be in this position, you want to be in this position, you know, when the monkey drops in, right?
Yeah.
So like, you can go for this aggressive nade. You can try and win the fight and force these cooldowns really early. Instead, you're at this really sort of off tempo with the monkey.
So synchronizing your pressure. Monkey drops. That's when you're already in a position to look for a nade there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, being in this position sort of, it denies you a lot of that LOS, and also it's did they press tab? I don't think they have.
Nope. So.
No, this is another free space, by the way, on the bingo card. Like, 15 seconds in, just press tab, right? It's so easy. Press tab, like, you see exactly what the enemy team are playing, and then you realize, like, they got a sim. I think there's a May as well when we peaked. So like, they don't have snipers, right? They don't have that ranged threat that you're really that worried about, so you can start backing up. You know, maybe you can play on this opposite high ground to give you better angles, like when the monkey drops in. But I don't know, I still want to watch though, because like, I'm a little bit worried about the synchronized stuff, right? Because it's yeah, okay, definitely. All right, so monkey's gonna drop in. He's gonna bubble. He's gonna do this thing. Then monkey's bubble's gonna go down. He's gonna take some damage. He's gonna jump back up. And your only job as Anna is supporting him when he drops, and then healing him up so he can drop back down as soon as he wants to. And Anna's really good at both of those things. So like, she's really happy in this situation. But the timing is so off, right? The timing is really off. So monkey drops in first time and there's no LOS on the drop. I know they got the kill on the sim, but it doesn't really look like they were understanding the situation to begin with. Okay. Then the Doom goes in, and the Doom gets poked out, and it's fine. Like, you know, you heal the Doom, you keep him alive. But then you go for this nade, and it's like, you've just seen the Doom go in and back out. Your Diva and I think your Winston too is actually peeling for him. And also the Winston's not going to have bubble up yet anyway, right? And this isn't something you have to actively track. It's just like a tempo that you have to start getting the feel for.
Okay, so you're saying don't use cooldowns to provoke pressure. Use cooldowns when the pressure happens. So like when Winston goes in, that's when you look for cooldowns. Don't look for cooldowns and then hope that your Winston will follow up off of it.
Yeah. So it's like, because if we think about the tempo, right? like we can realize like the Doom's backed out. He's been full health for a couple of seconds,
Mm-hmm.
which means in 2-3 seconds time, your whole team's going to be ready to drop in again. Because like the Winston's going to have bubble up again. The I don't know if the DV use boosters, but like the Winston especially, right? The Winston's going to be ready to drop very, very soon. And you have to be ready with nade for when that Winston's ready to drop. Because like he's not actively deciding the timing of this too. Like this is just the hero design. So it's not something you have to like communicate with the team. So like we'll see him so like right now the Winston's so like the Winston's going in his bubble now. Like we know roughly how long bubble cooldown is. Like we know when the team's gonna go in. We know the Doom's ready to go back in again because you healed him up like 5 seconds ago. But you're not ready to help them. You're not ready to help them because like you were at there's such off timing. Like when you peek this corner, you take some damage, you waste an aid. Like so like both times your Winston's dropped, you haven't helped him at all. Like you did kill the sim, which is nice, but I don't know. You gotta really watch out for this tempo though. I don't know about that nade either. Is there anything you want to say, by the way, about the tempo stuff?
No. I put a lot of emphasis with a lot of my team coaching stuff, without going into too much detail, on synchronizing your pressure, so that you can always find value. I 100% agree. Not a whole lot. I think it's important to chat. If you've ever gone over the Tracer VOD recently with me, you know it's the same kind of thing. It's not just about being on the backline. It's about making sure that you're on the backline at the right time, so that any attention that's drawn to you, your team can benefit from it. And I think that's the same kind of concept here. You see your Winston go in, that's when you're looking to go for nades. That's when you're looking for aggressive positioning, things like that. Otherwise, you end up just getting off synced with your tanks. So so far I've been very good. Thank you.
Okay, cool. It's also saying like this position where you're peeking over the edge. This isn't really that necessary either, right? If you know what team comp the enemy's playing, you can go to a position sort of more like this where you can more comfortably see the whole of your team, right? So when the Doom's hiding here, or the D.Va's playing up here, or the Monkey's up here, you can see all of them very comfortably at the same time. And also you're not going to catch this like trash damage. I think it was Lucio actually that wall rode up.
Yep.
Do we need to get high ground?
I don't know. I don't know too much what to say about this nade though. And about like dropping to help the sim.
Well, if we carry what you said all the way through, if he'd been in the proper position in the first place, he would have had an easy rotation to LOS without dropping, because he would have been on the middle section. So I think it's if he had followed what you said in the first place, then we wouldn't even have this problem.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm cheating a little bit though when I say
Yeah, but it's still the case.
Yeah, of course. Dropping for the sim isn't dropping to try and heal afterwards isn't terrible, but like with this nade here, you can see they're taking pressure a lot, like before you go for this nade. And like you can work out they're taking pressure too, because you saw the Monkey go in, you saw him not get any value. So you know the enemy team they're going to be pushing, right? Because the only thing they can really do, you've seen they have the Mei, you've seen they have the Sim. The only thing they're going to do is push you, right? And this is again predicts these fights. Like think about how they're going to go down. And and you can set up for that like before it happens. So I don't really like this too much. I don't want to hang on it too long though. Because the sim dies and it's okay. You reset probably.
Stay with monkey.
You gonna reload?
Yeah, that's downtime, man. Come on.
Yeah, this is mega downtime. Like, I don't know. So you have a pretty decent chance to reset though, because I don't have any high ground contest. So it's like, I guess I have sim TP. So you have time to reset and like take another fight without the sim. Well, I don't like that nade though, really. I understand that like you want to heal your team to full, but like your team's not going to take that much pressure in the meantime. And it's also like you should have that timer in the back of your head, right? Like you see the enemy team engage, then you see them kill the sim, so you know like right about now they're going to be popping out here, right?
So the nade was needless because your team was in a very safe location to where you didn't have to rush quite as much.
Yeah, exactly. Like your D.Va right now, she's I think the Winston was more or less full. The Lucio was fine. The Doom was fine. It was only really the D.Va that the nade was for. And the D.Va is very happy to be like 400, 500 HP, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's not really that worried in this position. And you also want to think like the Sim's dead. The whole team's pushing. And like now is sort of about the time when you want to start thinking about playing like outside of your role, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like if you think about like your main role, you're dumping stats down main, right? You're healing, you're damaging, all that stuff. In these positions where it's like you have this big cluster of enemies pushing main,
mm-hmm.
your down picks. I don't know why these tanks are here though. Like I guess we should say this briefly. Like, did someone make a call to drop to site?
I don't know.
I think.
Yeah, they go rotate that way.
Okay.
That's where Winston wants to be on the low ground.
Yeah.
Brawling with enemy maze, perfect.
Yeah. Okay, but like, so they go there, but you don't have to do that, right? So like, your team's in an awful position here, really awful. And like now's the time when you want to start thinking about playing like outside of your role, right? You want to be, instead of just being focused in main and like healing and that stuff, you want to think about playing outside of your role. Like now's the time when you can hide up here and go for like nades down on them as they go through, you know?
Now, why is that? Why is now the time? What's happened specifically?
I mean, like you lost the sim. The enemy team are really hard committing onto point. Like your team's in a pretty bad place. It's like it's not just about you have the option for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more about like in terms of it's not really pressure. It's more like it's a combination of things. It's like you can have in your head this sort of image of like the strength of the enemy team at the moment, and like where they're focused, where they're pushing.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're almost entirely focused like in this direction now, right? So it's like you have this room to maneuver around the outside. Like you have these options, and it's like you want to. We could talk about relieving pressure again. Like this is relieving pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your team is taking a lot of pressure, especially from this Mei, right? A nade anywhere, right? It can be here. It can be you can throw it down, like whatever. Like it's going to relieve pressure from your team. Your team being full HP doesn't win you fights, like because you can heal them to full. Like sure, very nice. Like your die tank's full HP right now, but they're going to keep taking damage, right? They're just going to keep taking damage. Like you can heal them all you want, but they're going to keep taking damage. What you're trying to do is you want to stop them from taking damage.
Mm-hmm.
And the easiest way of doing that as Anna is getting these like turnaround nades, like playing outside your role, putting DPS numbers down. Like, I'm gonna keep watching that and see how that actually plays out because I don't think. I'm also not too happy this player dropped off high ground herself. Like, did we see the Reaper swap?
Nope.
No.
That's one of those bingo check marks, like you said.
Yeah. We didn't see the Reaper swap, but also even with the Reaper, maybe you disagree with me here, but like I would want to commit to a duel with this Reaper on the high ground.
I wouldn't want to necessarily commit to the duel, but I don't think the Reaper being high ground ruins that position for you completely. You still have Sleep Dart. You still should have your nade.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, like we didn't know that there was, like you shouldn't just not play high ground if there's a Reaper.
Yeah.
You can play force him to get you off of high ground at the very least.
Like you have the Doom here too, right?
Yeah.
Because the Doom wants to be up here. I think the team jumps back, right? Like Doom doesn't want to be over here. Like you can really help him stay up there, and like yeah, I definitely like to see them commit to staying up here a little bit more. At this point though, because I don't want to hang too much on this. But at this point now, you're just playing for time, really, right? So like you're taking this pressure. This nano on the D.Va's relieved pressure on her, but it's also relieved pressure on the rest of your team, right? Because they're focusing this D.Va. So like now you can kite back a lot because you and this D.Va are going to take a lot of pressure now. You can kite back and stay alive for as long as you can. And fight's not looking. Oh, okay. What do you think this nade does?
Yeah, that doesn't.
Like, okay, I'm not keen on the nade.
No.
I mean, I guess I
mean, the fight was lost, so I don't really mind going for a you know, it's a 4v6. I don't really mind going for a play there, but
yeah. No, it does make sense, but like by the time they drop a point, they're in a really tough position. Actually, Monkey's dragon with a primal, so but I have TP as well. You might be alright.
Monkey come back. I'm going mega.
I guess. That's a really fast beat from Lucia.
It is a fast beat.
Yeah. Nice health. See, like that's a much better nade, right? Yeah. Like, that's really nice.
May's coming. May's coming right side, I think.
I'd like to see them squeezing a reload, but I don't know where they could have. I guess it's not that bad. We don't want to stick on that too much. You need to get out of LS of main though. Like, you could, all these heal options you have now, you can get from this this doorway just behind you. Like, you want to be really careful peeking main, especially if you're not checking tab. You don't know whether they have this random widow swap. You want to be careful.
Now, just so we're aware, pressing tab, are there any timings or frequency that you look for when you press tab?
Well, I mean, other than it being like in between fights, so.
Well, I mean, I guess just kind of cementing that you do like it between fights specifically.
Yeah, I like it between fights. So also reloads, right? If you have a reload where you're already confident in your positioning and you don't have to use the reload to buy time for like camera management, you can press tab zone. Like, you can.
I'm gonna stop you there. Camera management. Yeah. That's your LOS, okay, so, yes, but explain a little bit more. There's tidbits
so like,
floating by.
Yeah. Okay. So like a massive thing is Ana, right? Absolutely massive thing is Ana. Big thing is Zen too. These flex sports really have to push this on them a lot of the time. You need to look around, right? You need to really manage your camera time. So like a lot of players, so like main, they'll be focused on main. So they'll spend a lot of camera time looking at main, but not very much, looking at their like left lane or their right lane, right? Which means that like you get these heroes, you get these reapers, these tracers that sneak like all the way up on them, right? And they don't notice them until it's too late. Because Ana has downtime, she has downtime when she's reloading. Like, I mean, that she'll slot reloads into her downtime anyway, right? So it's like she has lots of downtime. Usually she'll reload, and she can use that time when she doesn't have to look at her teammates to check her flanks, right? Mm-hmm. She checks her flanks, she looks for enemies.
It's like min-maxing your time. You're not doing anything anyway, so you might as well check your surroundings.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's good for you because it means it makes you more comfortable in your position, which means you can focus more on the front line when you go back to looking at it, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't take anything away from what it adds to what you can put on front line. So, so like yeah, like if you're in a position where like you don't really need to check for camera angles, you can just press tab quickly.
Okay. Now, why is that important for flex supports in particular?
I mean, mostly because they're like their ability to control their own space mostly depends on them contesting enemies at range, right? Mm-hmm. So like with Zen, it's Discord. Discord is such a great tool for contesting enemies at range because you put Discord on someone and immediately you know what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. But 3 seconds after you get that Discord on them, you know what they're doing. Like they're hiding in cover, they're rotating around, they're like extending their flank on you. Mm-hmm. You know what they're doing. It also makes it a lot easier for you to put down damage pressure on them. And like for Ana, it's the same thing, right? She has sleep, but sleep's not really. I wouldn't really class sleep as one of these ways that she puts pressure on enemies at range. Like it's there, but she's never really going to want to use it at long distance. It's more just like the enemies knowing that she knows where they are, right? Because she can put damage numbers down on them. She can spot them. She can rotate around and stuff. Mm. Like, but all of the things that these flex sports can do to consolidate their own positioning, because they don't have mobility. Sure, like Ana has nade, but they don't really have the self-sustain. Mm-hmm. Like all of their ability to defend themselves against enemies mostly relies on getting the earliest info possible. So like the earlier you get that info, and like you get the early info by looking around, right? Mm. The earlier you get that info, like you stand a much better chance of like dealing with that flanker, out rotating that flanker. Like
I think also with flex supports, as you look at On and Zen, is they're such high value. They can do so much work in a fight, but they're also high risk because they are immobile, like you said. You are going to be the first target that a flanker is going to go for 99% of the time. I think, like I said, coach with a lot of Zens, the first step to beating a tracer is to know where the tracer is. And I think that's really good advice. It's great.
I mean, I talk about flex, like that flex support stuff a lot, like with regards to them being like them having potential, because that's really sort of that's sort of the foundation of how a lot of teams. I mean, not recently, which is weird, but like in the past, like before like the goats and the Sigma metas, like it was always about the flex support, right? It's about making sure the fight is going down in the LOS of your flex support, and then everything else sort of built up from there. So it's like, flex supports, I love them. They're really important.
Adam is flex support main. Are you a flex support main?
I play Ana mostly. I play Zen as well. I just love them.
I'm like that, but flipped. Mostly Zen, some Ana.
Yeah.
Are you when I played?
No, I have so much fun playing these heroes. I'd like to get forced onto more recently. Let's go back. This is all fine, right? Like, you're just putting out stuff. You can rotate back though. You don't need to be hard scoping him here. You just want to reset like early as possible. Do you reset?
Yep. Reset. Yep.
We reset. We're up on high ground. Nice. But now you know what the enemy are playing, right? So like they have the Reaper now. I assume they still have the Mei. You don't really want to be this close to your team. You can play a little bit further back. You can play around here because you're not really. Obviously, Mei can like headshot you with a right click, but you don't really have that much risk. The thing you're scared about most is the Reaper TPing onto you, because new Reaper TP is
crazy.
Is quite crazy. But like, the nano monkey's okay, but you'd have been in a much better position to support the monkey. If... Sorry.
No, he dropped.
You don't like it?
I don't like him dropping.
Oh, sorry. I skipped back. I didn't see the drop. No, I was going back here, so I could find out like a. If he's playing from the left.
I spoiled the bad ending for you. No.
I'm ready for it now.
All right.
Okay. Like you're in a much better position to support this monkey if you actually have LOS on the enemy team.
Yeah.
Like you're not afraid of having LOS on the enemy team when they're playing Reapers, when they're playing Maze, because like.
So you're saying he's positioning almost as if they're playing it to snipers because he's so scared of the main choke, but what it's doing is it's inhibiting his vision, and so that he's having to like do these crazy rotations all the way over just to see what's actually happening. It's limiting his nade value, it's limiting his shot value. It's kind of screwing him over, and you would want him to like, this is fine if you're playing the snipers, understandable, but if they don't have anything that can contest you realistically at range, there's no reason for you not to be abusing your range by playing.
Definitely.
Okay.
And like even more when like we can go back to this tempo stuff, right? Like this isn't like the monkey's not catching you by surprise when he's dropping down. Like he's gonna do this. This is the only way he's gonna fight in this choke. Like so you can set up for it before it happens. And as long as you're wary of the Reaper like TPing onto you, like you're very happy to play like at this wide angle to actually give you like. Options. So like so focus that Reaper. What? One shot on the Reaper? One shot on the Reaper? Seriously?
Now why why are you advocating putting a lot more pressure on the Reaper here? What about the situation demands that?
Okay. Wait, sorry, which situation? Like the whole situation?
The situation we're at right now. Why would you be putting more pressure on the Reaper?
Okay. Right, so you just sent your monkey with nano, right? You sent your monkey with nano, and your LOS is garbage too. So you're not going to be able to support him anyway if you want to help him. And you have the Doom here, which maybe you can help, but he's going to upcut anyway. So like you can help him, he's fine. But you have these heroes, you have the Reaper, you have the Mei, or the other way around. I think this is the Mei down there. But the way to help your team win fights against Reaper and Mei is to force Wraithform, is to force Ice Block. Right now, this Reaper can do absolutely nothing to you because he's probably had to TP to get up there anyway. So it's like, just shoot him, right? As long as you're aware of your team, and like you put a shot onto him, you put another shot onto him, you check, you quickly flick to the right to check your team's okay. You can easily force Wraithform out of him. he's going to try and run away. He's going to get to about here. Wraithstorm's going to end, and then you can kill him. Like, right now, there's nothing else for you to do because you've screwed yourself with the LOS in the first place. So, like, why not shoot him?
First left.
Because, like, like that nade does nothing, right? I mean, maybe it antied someone, but, like, I don't know. You get another shot on this Reaper as he drops down, but you see he pops Wraith here, right? Which means he's able to get all the way back to his team. You can so easily force Wraith out of him if you fight him up here. I really don't know why he didn't... I see the drop. Yeah, same thing, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. So, like, what's your team going to do? They're going to drop. They're going to fight. Once they're taking some damage, they're going to jump back up. You know they're going to do this. This is the only cycle that they're going to commit to. So play around it, right? Play further back, so they're in your LOS the entire time, and you don't have to drop to heal them. And also understand that they're going to fly back up anyway, so you don't need to drop to heal them. Like, and if anything, even if this Diva dies, right? Even if this Diva's wasted boosters, she commits, she dies. It's much better for you to be alive for when this fight starts transitioning to point than to drop and try and heal this Diva. Is she even tagged when you drop? No. She's like 300 HP. She's yeah. Nah, not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Also, that early nade too. I don't like it. Like I don't like it because like if the nade was so early that it was in when the monkey lands with nano and you can try and get like that burst pick on someone, then that's good. Instead, you throw it really late when like the Doom's already committed cooldowns, the monkey's already committed jump, so no one's really gonna be close enough to follow up on it anyway. Like right now is a situation where like monkey probably needs that nade because I think he's on his second jump now probably. Like when he's been in backline, he's coming back, and like I don't know, he now's when he needs the nade, but I guess that's a minor thing. It's just like don't waste
a lot of errors are kind of stemming from one or two minor errors, and they just make it, and it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, definitely.
Like being in a bad position, wasting nade, not focusing Reaper. A lot of that is kind of starting.
Yeah. You have a lot of time to hit that sleep earlier as well.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see if they hit more sleeps later on, but I'm watching his team. Oh, they're gonna carry the fight again. Very nice.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, back behind you guys.
It's fine.
Diva ate the grab too.
Can't see a monkey.
Yeah. Big play from Diva this fight. Alright, reset. Do it now. Okay. He's on the way. What's their second support actually? Is it Anna?
Lucio.
No, they have.
The enemy support?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so can you look point? I'm seeing 3 heroes on your screen right now. Like you have 5 heroes to heal. Like I don't think the monkey died. Maybe he did and I didn't realize, but the monkey's somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. Maybe the monkey's about to die and we won't see him. Oh, there he is. Okay. Still missing another hero, right? Yeah, there they are. Like, I don't know, man. Don't tell me you drop in to heal them too. Oh no. Okay, so like, there's this really long period of time where you're not looking at your sim. You don't know what your sim's doing, because it's like it's not just like, oh, you only noticed she was damaged when you saw she was critical, right? But if you see her on point, holding this choke, you know that she's going to take damage before she takes damage, so you can set up for her to take damage.
Now, how would you set up in this particular circumstance?
So, like, I mean, like personally, I'd probably walk forward, right, and pick this window, and then maybe you even have the option to extend into a flank and like go for a nade, like down behind. Like, you have options here, and like this is you're not playing a comp that's committing to a brawl. You're playing a comp that's committing to like a burst. So like comps can brawl, comps can poke, comps can go for like burst, right? Right now, your comp is like pretty much entirely committed to going for burst because you have the Doomfist, you have the dive tanks. The sim's sort of separate from that, but like the general playstyle of your team is going to be going for this burst. So like you play around that not by pocketing your tanks when they take damage. You play around that by looking for these nades, right? You play around that by looking for this aggressive potential that you have access to. Instead, you're playing this really passive position where not only do you have no idea what the enemy team's doing, but you also don't even know what your sim's doing, right? Like there's no pressure on you to do anything right now. Like, there's absolutely no pressure on you right now. So at the very least, what you should be doing is looking around and knowing what the rest of your team's doing. Because, like, if you see the sim down here, like you'll know that she's going to take damage. If you play up here and you can see the enemy team, I assume they just like went this way. You know they're about to push your sim. You know your sim's going to need some help, right? And then like you're not even in a position to hit sleeps, to hit nades, to hit shots, right?
No. I have a question, a little bit of a goofy question, but is there anything you can do when you mess up your cooldowns and you're being chased by a Reaper and your team won't peel for you? Is it just lights out? Is there no way to juke them?
No way to juke him? It depends. Depends how good the Reaper is. Good Reapers, no.
Yeah.
A good Reaper will hound you until you die.
Yeah.
I find a lot of Reapers will fall for the run into them and duck under the shotguns technique.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, that's like, by that point, it's sort of done. You have to hit your shots. You have to try and force Wraithform. That's all it is. A lot of Reapers will get scared if you hit like a couple of shots on them. They really don't like the sound of the damage over time. Like it's, I don't know, Reaper mains especially, it really gets to them.
Yeah.
So it's like, you will be able to force that Wraithform if you hit the shots, even if you don't have your cooldowns. But generally speaking, you're in trouble. Like, because he's so effective around corners and stuff too, because of the way he can duck around and hit the shotgun. So yeah. So I don't like that you dropped here anyway, right? What? You're not gonna have angles to heal the. He's gonna ult, man. He's gonna ult. No. 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 Okay. All right. So you dropped heal the sim. Let's ignore that for now. I mean, you could have healed. You could have stayed up on high ground and healed her. If she dies here, also not horrible, right? She's allowed to die. Her life is not worth your positioning on high ground.
Yeah.
It's like a.
Well, you have to think of it as like she's screwed up, and you dropping after her means she and you screwed up. Because it's not likely that it's not like you're going to be able to, you're not like the firefighter going in and pulling the body out of the smoke. You know, you're most likely going to go in and you're going to die. Like you kind of have to judge the risk reward there.
Yeah, it's just like, what's the sim going to do if she's full HP? Like, nothing. Like, what are you going to do if you're on high ground with full kit? Like, you do a lot up there. So it's like, you drop in. But, you hear this, you hear the Wraithform too. You hear this Wraithform. And I'm glad you actually look around for him. You see him coming in, and you think, like even if you're not ult tracking, you think like he's got something up his sleeve, like like what's he gonna do? And you can think like right now, there's again like you're not really looking around that much, so like you don't really know where your team are, but you can see none of them, so you can at least predict like they're gonna be over here, right? Like this Reaper's seeing something, like he's got like the laser eyes, you know?
Yeah. He's focused.
Yeah. So it's like you can at least like rotate left a little bit to give you angles on the slope. You also, I don't know, why are you going for a shot on the D.Va when you know the Reaper's going in? This D.Va's allowed to die too. You don't really care about the D.Va.
Yeah.
She's allowed to die when like you have, like by the time you turn around, like these heroes are dead. Like if you're playing around the Reaper, you can very easily go for a sleep. You can very easily nade, like maybe against this wall, and get all three of them, right? Like because at least it would have been a little bit closer. But like this is the throw play, right? Like you hit the sleep on the Reaper, but it's not enough. Like it's you need to stop him from getting value, right?
Yeah.
You could have saved him from the mail too. I don't know. It's
Oh no. We're beating.
What the beat?
We're beating.
Yeah.
Please don't Nana. Please don't Nana. Please don't.
Nah, you nano that. You nano that though, don't you? I would nano that. I would nano that straight away.
I don't know. All right. Well, I think he's got a nano. You can smell it.
He's got a nano. You can smell it.
Yeah,
you definitely can.
Yeah.
Should I nano? Fuck it.
No.
Oh. We get the worst of both worlds. Nano primal. Oh yeah.
That situation could not have gone worse. Let's go back a little bit. Because I can hear him. I can hear him in voice saying, "Should I nano?" No, you nano that. As soon as you see this nade, I think you nano it. If you are gonna nano, like
if you're gonna nano, you better be decisive about it. Either either you commit to the error or you just give up. Like you can't be caught in between.
Because I remember too, like we had the sim TP, right?
Yeah.
We do have the sim TP.
Yeah.
But that's not good. But you can still win this fight. It's not looking good, but I guess you could with the same.
I mean, you force Flux at least, so that's
you force Flux, and like maybe your Doomfist comes back with the Meteor Strike and wins. You know, so like, I mean, it's not great. Like the big mistakes have already been made. But
good sleep.
Why are you so far off on point?
Yeah, I don't know. This happens to this is like a pet peeve of mine for Flux supports. Drives me nuts. It drives me nuts on Volskaya. It drives me nuts on Anubis. It's like, why are you on point right now? Yeah. And they stand on point, and then somebody swaps Doomfist and rocket punches from spawn and one shots.
Oh my god!
It's like, why are you there? You're not more effective offensively or defensively there.
Yeah. It's like it's not just on point. It's worse than just being on point. Yeah. If you're going to be on point, you can play back by the window, and like that's not actually that bad a position for you because you have the LOS. And if someone pushes you, you can drop out the window. Yeah. And that person has spent 2-3 seconds trying to commit to you. Yeah. So it's not an awful trade, but like you're here and like you sleep the May, fine, but then why are you holding down W? Look at this. Your team's coming back from spawn. Yeah. Like. Yeah.
It's like we're anticipating a nade, but nade's not even off cooldown yet. Yeah.
No.
And you don't need to be that close anyway. Like there's no benefit to it. So.
Like they're sort of just off our screen now, but like. Like look like the Luso's in melee range, the Reaper's in melee range, the Sigma's in melee range. Like why? Like it's unnecessary. But they beat, not terrible. It's like this is a position that you can take this fight in, right? Like this is a position that you want to be, or like not the exact position, but the type of position that you wanted to be in like 10 seconds ago.
Yep.
Where you have some LOS and you can also kite around this corner if someone pushes you. Like I don't know. I imagine this fight is done now, though.
Most likely, yeah. We'll watch one more fight and see if they get snowballed.
Is this point B? Oh, yeah.
Lamp.
Let's get back.
A lot of stuff has gone down pretty quickly.
yeah. I think, like, oh, I hate that nade. I don't like that one at all.
Really? Why?
I don't like that one. I think it's okay. Like a nade at this point is okay, but like the micro of it, I don't like.
Oh, okay, the micro you don't like. Okay.
Like you see the Sigma, you see the Zarya bubble. Like if you're gonna throw a nade,
I would nade here.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can try and nade around it. You can go for something, right? You can at least think about it. You can also delay it just a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like you're not in like that. Like your monkey's in, sure, and I assume this is your Doomfist flying in.
Yeah, I think so.
Like I'm really annoyed that their Sigma took the shield down and that nade didn't get completely negated by the second shield.
So it's like, no, you shouldn't have gotten away with that error.
You really shouldn't have gotten away with that one. But
lamp.
So you focus lamp, it's fine, shooting. Do we have options for sleeper, do you think?
I don't think there's a drawback to it, so I mean, there's obviously the concern of Reaper TP, but I think Reaper would want to focus on point anyway, which means I think you can be greeting with sleep here, 100%.
I think you can be. I think Reaper's the main target because again,
Reaper's not relieving
pressure, right? Yeah, but like it's again like relieving pressure, right? You're trying to relieve pressure on the team.
Yeah.
And also another horrible reload or lack of. Okay, all right. So let's go back. Sorry, I keep skipping. Just here, right? You try and heal this Lucio, he gets around the corner. You can't heal the Lucio. Everyone on your screen's full HP. Mm-hmm. You have full kit. And your team's in like a losing fight, right? I guess we'd call this a losing fight. You have the wall, but like it's sort of you're gonna need to make a play to win this fight, right?
Yep.
So what you're gonna do next? You're very obviously gonna go for a nade or you're gonna go for a sleep. One of them, right? But right now, he's on your screen. You have a Sigma who's Zarya bubbled, you have a Mei who's sort of underneath you, but really out of cover, so she's not gonna be able to get into cover. You also have this monkey who's underneath you, so if you want to go down for him, you have time, right? You have so much time to reload. You can reload, cancel it with one of your abilities, right? Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like this is when you know you're gonna go for one of these abilities, you cannot afford to miss this out, right? It sounds like a minor thing, but like
well, it's something that's consistently shown up.
Yeah, exactly.
Several times.
And it's like because it's like right now, if you drop with nade, you're gonna run out of ammo straight afterwards. Mm-hmm. So it's like I don't know. We'll see though. The nade's alright, but like no ammo left. Oh, you have so much time. You have so much time. Look how long it takes for you to get frozen after you whiff the sleep. Like, I can understand like the stress. I can understand like the stress of getting frozen and getting to you. But like, this happened earlier as well with the Reaper, right?
Yeah, it did.
It's just like
it happened
twice
earlier, actually, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, you take a lot more time with this. Yeah, so it's like, well, what do we hate the most about this fight then?
I don't know. That's your decision.
My decision. Okay, so like in this position, let's go back a little bit. Okay, here we go. All right, so like the monkey drops in, you go for a nade, and now as soon as this doesn't really work out, you're focusing on relieving pressure, right? Because like as soon as this tomb gets frozen, you can shoot him once and then like try and relieve pressure, right? And like you still have to sleep that to relieve pressure. He's probably gonna die. Like this is a very tough position for him, but you can at least like try to relieve pressure by going for a sleep dart. Like also every sleep, I don't think the spell does this either, but every sleep, every nade, just put a shot in before it, right? Because like you can shoot him, you can flick to the right quickly. This May or whoever is running onto him, probably the May.
Yep.
You can go for a sleep dart on it. So it's like you have options to relieve pressure. You're not looking for them. Then it's like pocket. You have this chance for a reload here because you know you're going to drop with nade, right? This is like a preeminated. Like this is a preeminated decision. You know you're going to drop with nade. Just reload. You know, like just reload. It's fine. Not that dropping with nades. I guess it's not horrible because you do need to save the Winston. But you can also drop back, right? You can walk back and then you can use that box behind you for cover. And then obviously sleep too slow on the May. But you sort of came back into a really tough fight there though. Like you didn't really have a chance to do that much.
Okay, so do we end up holding it? I think they've got 3 kills. I think that's enough.
Yeah, they're
fine. Okay, so I always like trying and finish this up with, we've had a lot of really good insights, lots of good information, but the biggest thing is to find like the particular weaknesses for each person that needs the coaching.
Yeah.
And so if you had a couple of things, 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things, that you think this player would benefit from training the most, what would be, from what you've seen, what do you think this player needs to train?
The first thing is probably reading the fight, right? Because like we saw a lot of the mistakes that got made on first point, or a lot of the mistakes that got forced from them on first point, were by not reading the fight and not actually setting up for the fight that was coming up, right? So it's like, well, when you see this monkey, so like on second point here, so like it, like you have the same comp, right? So like, what's your monkey gonna do here? You don't need to think about it. You don't need to call anything. You know the monkey's probably gonna play up here and then he's gonna drop on backline, right?
Yep.
That's the only thing the monkey's gonna do. He's gonna keep doing that. He's gonna drop in. Once he's tagged, he's gonna jump back up. So you want to set up for that by being both an LOS of him and ideally an LOS of the people he's dropping on. But like you won't set up for that at any time. So it's like read those fights, like set up for it as well. I mean, how many of the mistakes are actually forced by that? Quite a lot.
Yeah. There was pressing tab. There is the reloads. There was rushing sleeps. I guess a couple other things.
Yeah, I mean the tab stuff's another part of it, right? Because like you have to know what's going down before it happens, right? It's just as like this is just like the biggest thing for Flexbot. You have to know what's happening before it happens. Whether this is pressing tab to make sure that you know what heroes the enemy team are playing and you predict how they're going to approach the fight. Whether this is making sure you're looking around so you know, like, not just that was a big thing actually. When that sim was getting tagged on first point, you remember that one?
Yep.
Yeah, like that's the that is another really big thing that is probably a sign of something bigger actually. Having no LOS on the enemy team for like a solid 10 seconds, and no LOS on the one player on your team who's actually committing to brawls, like because of the way the hero plays. That's not good. Like you have to know what the enemy team are doing. You have to know who on your team is going to take damage before that happens, and you do that by like managing your camera properly. Actually, that's a slightly different thing to camera management, but like you do that by sort of managing your LOS as a whole properly, right? So like you have no LOS on the enemy team. you're not rotating around the enemy team. So like you're playing this comp that likes to spread out, right? You're playing on these flanks. The enemy team's playing this comp. They're playing Reaper. They're playing Mei. They're playing Sigma. They're playing Zarya, right? They're very centered, which means that, you know, although Anna's not able to do this for most comps, she's really happy to take these really aggressive angles, right? Because it's very difficult for any of the enemy team to like peel back and go for, especially like on a map like Horizon where non-defense you have these high grounds to play around. So it's like you don't need to be scared on first point about like staying out of LOS because the engage isn't coming to you. You're starting the engage.
Right. It's the Mei Reapers, so there's just fewer threats that are going to be directly poking you down. That's kind of a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Because like, but it's the wider thing as well. Like reading the comp, right? Like you read the comp matchup. You see it has the Winston. You see it has the Doomfist. You see they have the Sigma. You see they have the Mei. Right. Every single fight you are going to be starting. So you have to set up in a position where you can see that fight that you're going to start. And like, sorry, and whether any fights we saw this game, whether this player was like in LOS of that fight when it was starting, like not really. So like,
well, except for the last one. Last one we were synced, and that's why we landed the big nade. I mean, obviously the micro, like you said, was poor, but you were on LOS at the same time, so that was good. Yeah, okay. Exactly. Well, Ego, I appreciate you coming on, man. No again, if you guys haven't known !Gesk, he's a phenomenal YouTuber, has a lot of really good content out there, a lot of coaching history, a lot of coaching background. And I really appreciate you coming on, man. It was extremely educational.
I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to me ramble about Anna. So.
Definitely did. And I saw multiple times people in chat were like, oh, never thought about that. Oh, didn't know that. So it was nice to have a non-moronic figure speaking at least for once in my stream. So thank you again, Ego, and you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. All right, see you, man.